Hey kindergartners, this is Mrs. Campbell and I'm your art teacher. And I know we haven't met in person yet, but I am super excited to talk to you about our next art lesson together. I'm going to demonstrate for you making a fall tree. And I'm going to be using a crayon and I'm also going to be using some paints. So if you don't have paints at home, then you could definitely color your tree with crayons, or you could also use something like markers or colored pencils, any kind of coloring tool that you have at home. But I did want to demonstrate one way you can make a tree with paints. So I am going to show first drawing the trunk of the tree, and then we're going to make the leaves with paints. But like I said, if you don't have paints at home, you could definitely do leaves with crayons or markers or colored pencils or any other thing that you have at home that you could use for leaves. You could even do like colored paper, or maybe you could even go outside and you could find some actual leaves to put on your tree. Okay, so watch this video and try to follow along with me.
For this today, you will need paints, a paintbrush, a brown crayon, and some paper. First, I'm going to start by drawing my tree trunk. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my paper with my brown crayon, and I'm going to kind of swoop a line up that's going to go all the way up almost to the very edge of the paper at the top. So I'm going to do that same thing on the other side, and then I'm just going to draw some lines that kind of go up and off the paper. So I'm going to start with my crayon on one of those branches, and I'm just going to draw lines that go up and off the paper. Up, off the paper. And then I like to add little branches off of those, just like you'd see when you're looking out at the trees. I'm going to kind of fill in my tree trunk with some brown crayon and add a couple more small branches. They can overlap, they can go every which way. Next, I'm going to add the leaves, and what I'm going to do is choose some fall colors. So I like to start with some orange, and I'm going to really get my paintbrush wet, and I'm just going to add some splat marks. So all I'm doing is pushing my brush down on the paper and lifting it straight back up. And I'm doing it randomly all over, right on top of the branches, that whole top part of my paper. I could also use some other colors. I like to use orange, yellow, and red for my fall leaves, but you could do any kind of fall leaf colors that you see outside on your trees by your house. I'm overlapping the yellow with the orange. I'm not trying to do it perfectly, just kind of all over the place. I'm going to speed up my leaf making so you can kind of see what happens when I add all my leaves. I'm also going to add some grass and maybe some leaves that have fallen. Here is the final fall tree artwork. So remember that I used 3 different colors for paint as the leaves. I used orange, yellow, and red, and I just kind of pushed my brush down on the paper and lifted it up over and over again, kind of like I'm making polka dots with my paintbrush all over, and I let those colors overlap and mix together. And then at the end, I added some grass at the bottom and maybe even some leaves that have fallen to the ground. Also remember that if you don't have paints where you are right now, you could definitely use crayons, colored pencils, you could use markers, and you could use that same idea of just making some dots or some little scribbles. And you could also use cut up pieces of paper, or maybe you could even go outside and find some leaves that are on the ground and use those as your actual leaves on your trees. So have fun with this. Check out the fall trees that are outside of your house and take a picture and show me what you did.